Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel, Wake Up Bright, where I share all of the things that help me live each day a little brighter. I'm April Lauren, and I'm on a journey to lose 200 pounds. I am over 80 pounds down, less than 120 pounds to go, and I'm excited to share this Weigh-In Wednesday video with you. I am filming a new series for my channel, so I was like, what do I do for this video? Because I've already started filming that series, and I was like, I should just go ahead and answer several of the questions that you guys asked a few weeks ago. I should have done a few weeks ago. I just lost my footing, and here we go. In this video, it is a Weigh-In Wednesday, so I will share my most recent weigh-in update, and let's just go ahead and dive into these questions. What progress are you most proud of besides your steady weight loss? Like, it could be fitness-based, or it could be your overall health. I would say I am most proud of my mental journey, the progress that I have made in my relationship with myself, being patient and kind to myself, which is not something that I've always done. And that has been very life-changing. Do you think you'd have the same result or different results if you didn't have a channel focusing on weight loss, and why? There have been some extremely challenging parts of sharing my journey online. I've really learned to value my opinion and those of my family members and people who know me, like their opinions more than ever, like the people who matter. I feel like in life, you always go around and you're like, I don't want to do this because, you know, what if somebody like thinks this or that, like whether it's wearing what you want to wear or dyeing your hair a certain color that you want to dye your hair. Like there's always been a level of insecurity, and I feel like I have grown so secure in who I am, and that has been life-changing. And it has also helped me become incredibly patient and kind to myself, as opposed to being empathetic and kind outwardly to others and then really mean to myself. I have completely changed in that regard. And I think without that, I would not be as successful as I am on my weight loss. I think I would have continued the perpetual cycle. Extreme diet, some success, failure, repeat, like weight gain over and over and over again. And that's been the story of my life. And that's why I like sharing my story. I hope that for me, it's already hard to remember what life was like 80 some odd pounds ago. It's hard for me to conceptualize it being hard to get out of bed physically, like actually stand up and get out of the bed. It's hard for me to wrap my head around that, but I have video of me describing it. I can see it in the video, and that's incredibly motivating, especially since I look at me as I was with love. I don't despise the person that I was. I'm grateful for the person that I was, and I'm grateful for the person that I am. I hope that sharing my journey, going slow, very slow and steady on weight loss, learning how to do it. If I would have done this in my early 20s, it would have been slow would have been a different rate. There's so many things that would have been so much better. And I hope that by sharing my story, that it doesn't really matter how old you are, firstly. People may see that it's worth it to do the work to figure out what you need and then really dial in and do what you need in order to be successful, and to not try to shortcut the process. Before, every time I've tried to lose weight, it's been some workaround or some shortcut, and there really is no shortcut. And while no one's journey has to look like mine, and it shouldn't, because this is just mine, it's my story, and sharing publicly, getting back to your question, has some extreme challenges that can also be choking and a place of stumbling. So it is not an easy thing, but there have been so many blessings that have come from sharing my journey, just in the way that I perceive myself and that I stand up for myself. And that isn't an aggressive thing outwardly. It's something that I've learned to do quietly for myself, and that is really powerful. So to go back to the question that I've now taken forever to answer, I think my results would be incredibly different if I weren't sharing my journey. I don't know if they would be better or worse, but they would be very, very different. And that's pretty. You have done so many amazing things since you started your journey, but what is your favorite non-scale victory to date, or maybe your top? And what non-scale victories are you looking forward to achieving? So my top 3, my mobility. I am so proud of my ability to move, to get up and to move. And I am proud of my resilience, and I am proud of the way that I see myself, the way that I look at myself and feel about myself when I look in the mirror. I am so at peace with who I am and so committed to changing and getting healthier a little bit each day, and that it feels so powerful. It just does. It feels incredible to be comfortable in being myself and to be happy. It would be very easy to allow insecurities or like the fear of being different get in the way, but showing up for myself is very encouraging, and it's an amazing experience. The more I show up for myself, the more obvious it is that everyone around you wants you to do your best, and they're not belittling or comparing themselves to you. When I go to the gym, nobody's looking at me being like, I can do more than her. Like, they're just happy that I'm there and they're happy to be there. And I love that too about the DEKA. Have a mark set forth and then you compete with yourself. And I love this because it's no secret that I am terrible with numbers, and I don't have the best attention span. Having someone count my reps means I've done it. Like when it comes to kettlebell and Yena and I doing it, we used to laugh all of the time about how bad we were at counting our reps. And so having someone there to like watch the form, and I know I'm doing it the correct way, and I know that I am doing the actual number of reps that I'm supposed to be doing is incredible. And then to have people in that environment who are very athletic and just amazing in their field of OCR or whatever it is that they're doing, to have them encourage and take the time to cheer me on is really powerful and encouraging. I know I'm overusing that word powerful, but I don't have another word for it. It's uplifting. It feels neighborly. Not a lot, I feel like, in today's society feels neighborly. And when I go to these events and I'm seeing familiar faces and I care about these people and I know that they care about me and our individual success, meaning comparing ourselves to our personal best, it's just, I love it. I love it. And so what I am most looking forward to, I really want to try to do a DEKA Fit, and then I still want to do a Spartan race. And I want to be able to go to a theme park and not worry at all about my weight and things like that. So I'm really looking forward to a lot of little things just like that. Next question. Hi April, I love your videos. Looking forward to all your new content. I'm looking forward to it too. How has this journey changed your mindset when reaching your goals as you get closer and more disciplined? Has it been a step-by-step process or a learn as you go process? 100% it has been a learn as I go. And then also it's kind of a step-by-step, because when I go back and watch my very first video, sharing this specific journey. So as we know, I have done YouTube for a long time. In the video that I did in December 2020, I shared tips and suggestions and talked at length about what I had done with YouTube. So if you're interested in that, there's a tag right here. But when I started sharing after I had gotten laid off and I had decided I was going to lose the weight, and then from that moment, I gained a little bit more weight. When I laid out all of the things that I needed to do, those things haven't changed. And I love Coach D. a trainer that sometimes I talk with, he says very regularly, it's not a knowing problem, it's a doing problem. We all know what to do. It's the putting it into action, it's the doing. And the doing has been a learn as I go process, because learning to work with myself and figure out how I need to move forward in order to not push beyond to where I lose it all, essentially. By lose it all, I mean if I'm juggling new things and things that I'm trying to achieve, doing it in a way that I don't drop everything and revert back into old patterns or old routines or old self-sabotage has been a learning process. So both. Other than 75 Hard, have you read any books that have had a positive impact on your journey? Do you have a favorite? So 75 Hard, the book, had pretty much very little bearing on my journey. It helped me do 75 Hard, and I really like it's a good book if you're doing 75 Hard. I really like, there's a book by Nidra Twab called Set Boundaries, Find Peace. It is amazing. It is such a good book. I love David Goggins' story. I love his book. Enjoyed Spartan Up by Joe DeSena. I really enjoyed Into the Furnace, Eating the Soul Because It's My Business by Tabitha Brown. I really enjoyed that book. The Rise of Ultra Runners. I really enjoyed that book recently. Beyond Order by Jordan Peterson and the 12 Rules for Life. I really enjoyed. It's Your Ship. It's more of like a leadership book, but I think it's very powerful for life and taking ownership of your journey. So I think there's lots of crossovers from professional to personal in that book. So those are just some of the books that I've read over the last year or so and that I've really enjoyed and I would highly recommend. I really wouldn't recommend the 75 Hard book unless you're doing 75 Hard. And as we've talked about, I don't exactly recommend that people do 75 Hard. What would you recommend for beginners interested in doing a DEKA event? What is the training like? Well, thank you for your kind words. And I think what I'm gonna do for this question is do a dedicated video and talk with Eunice and see if she wants to participate in that, because she is so amazing. So amazing. So she is my coach at iFit, which is a local gym here. She is a Spartan SGX coach. She was actually on the Spartan TV series a few years ago. I think she was on like 2 seasons where she was a coach on the show. Like she is amazing, so kind and uplifting, and so qualified to do what she does. So I feel like it would come better from her than it would come from me. Let me know in the comments down below if you would like to see a video like that. And let's see. Kathleen says, when it comes to food, do you feel you struggle more with portion size or with healthy choices? 100% portion size. Food is not like my happy place. Working out is my happy place. I love working out. Working out is something that I do to make me happy. Food doesn't have that type of effect on me, and it really never has. But I will overeat. It's like I do not have a I'm full button like my husband does. My husband, when he sits down to eat, he'll eat, he gets full, and he's done. I do not have that same effect when I eat, so I have to rely on like calories or something else, but then that also can be triggering for me because I get hyper fixated on it. I get hyper fixated and then I'm doing things like measuring spices, which makes absolutely no sense. And that's why I had this like fight constantly ever since I started my journey of to track or not to track, because it's like I can't just track like a normal person. I either go crazy or I don't do it at all. So all of that to say, I'm really enjoying this anabolic diet, if you will. So I'm cooking a lot more different types of dishes like I'm venturing before. So that's been a really good experience for me. And I'm curious to know how many of you, especially that struggle with weight, because I know not all of you who watch struggle with weight, but how many of you have that like, I'm full, it's time to stop reaction to food? Because literally it's just not. I just have never really had that where I eat, I feel full, and I'm done. Like So I don't want to keep repeating that same thing over and over again like I feel like I'm about to, so we're gonna move forward. What programming do you follow in the gym? Does it involve progressive overload? Or do you do random workouts? What specific diet plan do you follow? So I don't follow a specific diet plan. I try to eat less than I consume. As we just talked about, I struggle and have always struggled with tracking, and I have always been very open. I'll set targets, and then I work with myself to try to track most of the time. And sometimes I track more than others. And then sometimes I get hyperfixated. This is not helpful because we're just repeating what I already said. As far as the gym, so Eunice, I've pretty much done her programming since October, and she does her programming in like 9-week goals. So when I did that squat where I squatted really, really heavy, that was at the end of a strength building phase. To answer the question more specifically, what program do I follow? My coach's program. My goals with working out is just to work out. I enjoy working out. I enjoy different types of movement. I do it to be happy. Work out like I work out to lose weight. It is not necessary to do the things that I do. Some things you learned on your journey that you wish you could tell your old self. As I talked about kind of at length earlier, so I'll make this quick. I wish I could tell myself in the past to slow down and stop trying to shortcut the process. Like, just do the work, you have time. I feel like there was always this clock in my head, or not even a clock in my head, like I would write it out on paper that like by this age, I want these things done and I wanna look this way, and therefore I must do this as fast as possible. And that never worked out. I would tell myself that to be kind and patient and to do the work and to not try to shortcut the process. That's what I would tell myself, and that's what I share here on my channel. I feel like at best, my life and circumstance could be a cautionary tale, like don't do this. Don't continue to rely in finding an answer. Be the answer, do the work to figure out what you need, and then do that. Are you gonna go back and have the body composition testing done again? Yes, I absolutely am. When I get 100 pounds down, I'm going back and doing it all. So, and I think we're gonna do the same test he did last time, and I'm gonna do a bod pod. And then if we can find a DEXA scan, I think it would be really cool to compare the 3. I don't know if we'll be able to. How have you not reached a burnout? I always am on track perfect for weeks and months and eventually burn out and overeat and essentially give up. The way I haven't gotten to a point of burnout is that I've been very diligent at being patient with myself and not expecting perfection and not doing things perfectly. Like I have my entire journey, I've had essentially the same struggles, but as I've had the same struggles, I feel like they've gotten less and less as I've continued to progress past them. So when I don't track my food 100%, which I never have except for during 75 hard, I have not tracked my food 100% the entire time. Like we're talking like 70%, 80%, 40% of the time tracking my food instead of really being negative and self-defeatist and tearing myself down for that. I've just accepted it, set new goals, and continued forward. And I think that kindness that I've allowed myself is why I'm able to keep going. And yes, if I were, more strict with myself, maybe I would have lost more already, or maybe I would have lost more and already gained it all back. So I am very comfortable with the choices that I've made on my journey to get me to where I am. The last question that I'm gonna answer today is, what motivates you to keep going? And how do you keep going when motivation isn't there? Making small changes leads to an overwhelming change. I feel like something I've done very well throughout my journey is continuing to inch forward, just to move that needle just a little bit forward. And in that, I have completely changed how I live my life and how I approach my life and myself. And I think staying motivated is in large part to having good priorities and the right priorities for you. Focusing just on weight loss is not gonna get me to where I'm going to be most happy, to where I'm gonna thrive. And that's why I'm focusing on my health and on fitness, and weight loss has been a byproduct of that. And it is a journey. It's a process, and really focusing on the small things has helped me move forward. The thing about motivation is proper motivation to fuel something like losing 200 pounds. It has to be internal. It has to be from you and for you. And that is a challenge. And the feeling of being motivated doesn't last, but there are things that will continue to motivate you. So leaning into those things that motivate you to move forward. And for me, that's living a sustainably healthy life, and working towards being a good mother to where I'll be able to be active in the lives of my children, and that I won't be carrying this lifelong battle that I've had of being destructive with these destructive patterns of food. Like leaving that behind and fixing those patterns is what I've been focused on. And the strength that I've built is what keeps me going. And the things that motivate me inspire me to keep going. Motivation, especially from external sources, is very temporary. And the feelings, just to repeat it, of being motivated is temporary. What carries you through are really making small, lasting changes in the way that you live your life. And it's an incredible feeling. And I hope everybody hears me when I say you are worth doing the work. Figure out what you need in order to build that within yourself, because it will look very different than what I need. Worth it. You're worth putting in the time and the work to figure out what you need to prioritize, how you need to prioritize it, and to figure out what works for you. And with that, let's go into the Weigh-In Wednesday portion of this video. This week, I lost 1.3 pounds. I weighed in at 267.8 pounds, and it feels really good to be 85 pounds down. It feels really, really good. It is reaching 85 pounds down that I just feel a renewed strength. Not that I didn't already feel confident and happy moving forward, but that edge that I've talked about so many times since last September, I am doubling down on that. I am putting in the work, and I'm going forward strongly, still sustainably, still making small change, but I'm gonna push myself a little harder, and I'm excited to see what that looks like. And I'm excited to share it with you. I look forward to seeing you again either later this week or early next week. If you haven't and you'd like to follow along, I'd love for you to click the subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this video, please click the thumbs up button.